welcome back. We are about to start C'est La Vie versus Rage. Getting into the match, it looks like they're just getting everyone started. Let's talk about C'est La Vie. I really like Callus as a leader of this team. What do you think of the style that we're seeing out of C'est La Vie?
He's good. Definitely a unique style. I'll give him that. We've seen some interesting stuff, and he's all over the place. Sometimes defensive, sometimes very aggressive. One thing that I really point out, I'm not fully in love with his tank choices sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has really, really weird tank choices, but they work, right? I mean, that's why he's in this position. So I think overall, C'est La Vie, they are the favorites going into this. Rage is just a big distribution, but I want to ask, what do you think about C'est La Vie?
I have to agree with you on that tank choices bit. It's really confusing. We'll see some strange stuff, but like it's like with the 110, you know. The 110 versus the IS-3. The 110 has better DPM, it's a little more accurate, the gun settles faster, and it's got a Shuka, but it doesn't have spaced armor, and it doesn't have that alpha. It's like those little things that they make changes about, things that, you know, are reasonable, but aren't a part of the normal meta. They're not completely standard, but they're not outside of there, like what we saw out of Turtle Police. You remember the VK 4502? That was just a strange choice that I don't agree with, but C'est La Vie does things I'm okay with. I'm not against them. I'm not necessarily all for them, all behind them.
They are the same team that brought a T-32 on Cliff, and that I wasn't too fond of at all.
Yeah, another team that brought T-32 is T-32 Best Year 2013. They
Correct.
brought T-32 on Cliff, and it worked really well.
Do
Actually,
not
two
agree
of them.
with it, though.
I have to agree. Cliff is not a map you can bring a T-32 on, I think, and win at the highest level. You'll be outmaneuvered by 1390s and medium tanks.
I'm starting to think that the 1390 is the most overpowered tank ever.
It has a high range because of its mobility. You give any tank
I think it
high
has
mobility.
the highest skill cap.
That is very possible, and I agree. The tanks like the T-52, for tier 5 tier points, used to be able to 1v1. I used to be able to 1v1 with the autocannon and gold rounds against 1390s. When we discovered that you didn't have to bring the 57 on it, you could bring, there's a smaller autoloader on it, and you, with your gold rounds, you would pen all the time, and you could just set them on fire if they're chasing you.
Wow.
And if you have higher mobility, you're just going to wreck. You just are. Just how it is.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Now they removed it for unhistorical, but, I mean, I cry a little bit every time I think about the T-52.
I'm so sorry.
It's just such a cool tank. You had so much horsepower in such a little tank that just would move.
And you would also bounce shells in a tier 5.
You would, even in the tier 4, the T-50, that thing even gets some crazy bounces.
I remember back then, I had an IS-3, a T-50-2 was doing a scout run on Ruinberg. Had the easiest lined up shot. Shot with my IS-3. Wasn't doing gold rounds, but still, that's 225 pen on a tier 5, and I bounced.
Yeah. The back was sloped. That's what's so awesome. The engine area, the engine compartment is sloped. So what happens is you can bounce on that, and you'll hit up on the sloped turret, and you'll just get crazy bounces. I used to, there's this little wiggle you kind of do when you have tanks that, with the right kind of armor configuration, just wiggling while you're scouting, and you'll just get the craziest little bounces, because shots will just go a little high, or they'll hit you just so, and they'll just bounce right off, or you'll get a track shot with no pen.
It was the most frustrating experience, because not only is it that I have, you know, a great pen, but also I have an overmatch, too.
Not quite. You're almost overmatched.
No, I am. Yeah.
You're getting close.
It's only a power of 2, or not a power of 2, but multiplication of 2, not 3. Right? Because what was the armor on that?
The armor is like 40s and such on the sides.
That's so weird.
It's really strange. Although at the same time, you have to think about the fact that with the angle, you increase the effective armor. Yeah,
correct.
The E-armor changes depending on the angle. And that's the thing about any tank. You shoot it at the right angle.
Yeah.
You just catch that wrong angle just so you change armor from that to just right like that.
But that doesn't matter with the overmatch. Overmatch is just strictly what we're talking.
Unless
we're talking about the caliber of the gun in relation to the armor that you have. So let's say I have 40 armor, okay, and my caliber for the IS-3 is a 112.
Caliber for
my IS-3
is 122.
122. That's right.
Yeah, you just
wait. So I am. How am I? It's still an overmatch then.
Well, the thing is, there are angles at which it doesn't matter, because
angles,
there's an angles
they
no matter
remove
what
angles
bounce.
when they're doing overmatch.
No, if you shoot at like 99% angle, you're gonna bounce on almost anything.
No.
Yeah.
I guarantee if you shoot at 99% or 99 degree. Wait, what? 99%? What's going on
just
at what is it?
If you're at 0 angle on armor, you're just hitting 90-degree angle. Sorry, you're gonna pen. But if you're at like almost 0,
if you take if you're at almost 0,
yeah,
and you take a T1 against an IS-3, I know for sure that it's going to pen.
You can hit the tracks and bounce.
That doesn't count, Ro8.
Spaced armor, yeah.
It
And you
doesn't
can
count.
that might have been what you did against the TAC 2, but you get crazy bounces out of that
because
thing.
I didn't track them. I'm really confused now. 122 to 40. You're positive it's just straight up 40 on your 250-2.
No, I don't actually remember the side and back configuration armor.
You stall while I find out.
You go ahead and look around, because the thing is, like the TAC 2, there are tanks that it doesn't matter what armor you have, like the Batchat. You get crazy bounces when you should have when it looks like you should be overmatched.
It's 37.
37, almost. Yeah.
Maybe I have to go back to Wikipedia or the Wiki World of Tanks and find out this overmatch rule. Because I thought for sure that it was 3. If it's a multiplication of 3, so you take the armor, times it by 3. It's the base armor too. Times it by 3. If that is less than the caliber, then you don't have to worry about penetration. You'll always penetrate. That's what I thought it was. And if it's by 2, it's something else. I don't remember. I think it's like.
I think there's exceptions to the rule in there.
I have to look. I'm gonna look.
Because it's like camo. Sometimes you'll just walk up to a bush. Some guy will be sitting in it, and you'd think that you'd be camoed up, but really you're not. Just camo can be a little wonky sometimes. It's
Okay, let's bring it in. Come on, guys. Let's
in there.
Come in.
That screen.
Let's do a fireplace time. We're gonna talk about overmatch. So this is it. If the AP or APCR shell, and I was doing AP at the time, caliber is 2 times more than the normal thickness of the armor, such as a 120 millimeter shell hitting a 60 millimeter thick plate. I have a 120 caliber. You have a 60 millimeter thick plate. Then the projectile shell normalization is increased by the following formulas. What this basically says is, don't worry about the number. It's going to be 1.4 times more effective, or 40% more effective. But look, if the AP or APCR shell caliber is 3 times or more than the normal thickness of the armor, no ricochet will ever happen, even if the impact is more than 70 degrees from normal. The increased shell normalization described above will also occur in case involving HE shells or external module. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is they're just looking at 3 times the normal thickness versus the armor. It's not like E-armor at all. You can come back to us.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's probably some other rule within there, which is they're at such an angle at which.
Or the T50-2 is just magic.
It was
just
magic.
Straight up magic. I don't know what's going on.
You get crazy bounces on some tanks.
I don't think I was. Was I in my IS-3?
Or were you in your IS?
Was I in like my IS or? Well, IS. What's the caliber on?
You can have a 122 on there as well. It's
and
just
same
like
thing for the KV-1S 122.
Yeah. You can have huge guns all the way down to like the KV.
Yeah. No, well,
with the KV you can get
with the HE. Yeah. That thing's sick. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Please help me. But we were stalling for a little bit, as you guys could see, because C'est La Vie and Rage were not all put together, but now they are. Looks like, unfortunately, Rage is not bringing all of their members. But let's go into Gamer on Ensk for our first battle of this series. All right, we have 2 50-100s, 2 IS-3s, and a 416 the side of C'est La Vie.
On the other side for Rage, looks like 5100, T32s, T69, and a 1390. They've got their tier 8s, but no tier 1s present today.
Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Please, guys, tweet at us about Overmatch if you know it a little bit better on why, a T50-2 is bouncing shells. Yeah, tweet at us, Great Torp, at Ro8, at WGLNA. Thanks. And hopefully we can figure that out for you guys. Nice scouting run, though, by this 1390. Just going on in here, seeing exactly what the positions are. Flash Rim is going to proxy spot Black Geo.
Bao down the 5-6 line will not spot anyone because I don't think anyone is actually there. Medium tank for Rage is all the way. Go find out the medium for me, Andre. What's he actually looking at?
He was looking at nothing. He was looking down the 5 line actually for a little bit.
Oh wow, spotting happening.
Over the 6.
Looks like one of the heavy tanks. What tank was that, Andre? That is spotted.
Black Sun.
Black Sun.
Now they're doing this a little bit fast, I would say. They need their T69 proportionate to where the rest of these tier 8 tanks are. Right now they're in the E block, or the north block, they have to have that T69 up for that crossfire. Right now, Bao Bao in the 416 is dominating that. And technically, a T69 should be able to outrange this 416. So you can play a little bit more aggressive with this T69. Hopefully, we'll see that soon.
But Black Geo is caught out in the open as Wick does try and put a shot on him. Bao Bao as well, but a lot of bounces and a lot of misses here. Black Geo behind a fountain, even in that 1390. More shots coming out. There's a connection from Bao Bao and another miss. Black Geo is missing a lot of shots, but Bujanda actually does put shots out towards Wick, but no penetration.
Man, why is he going to Wick? He needs to go to Bao Bao. I mean,
Well,
stop that altogether.
Yeah, he could, but these sidetrack shots may be a fizzle. Oh, Bao Bao finally taking a hit, but Black Geo's down to 434 and another shot. Black Geo should be out of shells now, and he should be reloading, and it looks like he's running. Yeah, he's afraid, and Wick looks for the shot, but no, he is not spotted. And
oh, he gets it. Wow. Black Geo down to 126. I think that was the object 416.
Blind shot. No, 416 was not.
No, really?
He was distracted by the fact that Bujanda did actually put shots at him, and that was a blind shot. Wick did not see anything coming.
Wow, I missed a 5100.
A 5100 battle happened at the exact same time. Amazing.
Completely missed that happening.
Yeah.
Things are not looking good for Rage as Black Sun is over here all alone. Yes, his partner is kind of close, but that's a long distance for a T32. And by the way, I mean, bringing T32s on this map, not the best decision. T32s.
At least the way they're employing them. They're employing them the same way you would do an IS-3. And it's not as effective that way. More effective to use an IS-3 in this situation. Bao Bao is engaged up against Bujanda, and they did see Black Geo go to the east. So I'm expecting to see a push out of C'est La Vie right now. And Bao Bao does put a shot out on Bujanda, but now he's taking fire, 492. And second shot is a miss. His third shot connects down to 277, and Bao Bao misses his final shot, straightens up even, and it doesn't look like Bujanda has any more shells left. Bao Bao backing off, not too far though, and it looks like Black Sun and Hector are pushing out now, as it looks like Flash Ram and Lunatic Angelic will be just playing around as T1's just being distractions. They don't look like they're going to take any fire. T32 does get distracted enough, and he will take out Lunatic Angelic. Bao Bao putting shots out on Hector MRC. IS-3 also goes, but another miss. We're seeing misses across the board. There is a loss of Bao Bao, and now IS-3 lines up another shot. Hector tries to slip away, but Bujanda is looking to shoot at Hot Frank and Wick. Callus and Hetzerade are moving up the 5-6 line. Hetzerade looking back to the north. Black Geo does get on cap for a moment, and he backs off.
Yeah, not going to really mean much. I mean, it's 4 very healthy tier 8s against 4 not so healthy tier 8s. Black Sun, the only person. Bujanda finally going down. Now, Black Geo, he's going to try to snipe from far distance, but not going to work out too well. Cap is going to be initiated. There it is. Cleanup kill. Khalees is going to get that from downtown. Black Sun and Hector need to go all the way back to Cap in order for this to, well, be stopped. But even when it gets stopped, it doesn't even matter. Hot Frank right around the corner, ready for Black Sun. In just 15 seconds more, and we're going to see a very easy cap.
Yeah, that's GG right there. C'est La Vie going to take battle number 1.
Very convincing. I mean, we were talking about this, a big unknown. We were hoping that Rage was going to give C'est La Vie a run for their money, but it looks like there's just pure outclassing. And of course, being behind 2 tier 1s, that is gigantic as well.
Yeah, just a massive disadvantage going to battle. T1s are super important to the control of a map, and without them, you just cannot expect to really win with this. Callus is lining up. Looks like reverse angling here. They're going to try and just cap this out. There it is. Red base is captured. Victory to C'est La Vie.
So very decisive, as we were talking about. I mean, just on the very basic level, the tanks they're bringing, using T32s as if they were IS-3s, but IS-3s fulfill the role 10 times better in that particular map. Yep. And Sky, I mean, you need IS-3s or 110s even to just operate, because you're in such a brawly mode. You need the hit points, you need the alpha damage, you need the spaced armor.
IS-3 spaced armor is just really strong on those corners. Now, when I was looking at the C'est La Vie opening move, where they were all going, it was very bland, normal.
Makes sense,
just
though.
Meta.
They have no clue what their opponents are capable of, and also they're kind of respecting the 1390 scout in the very beginning stages.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they're doing that I do not mind at all. Yes, it's very bland, but at the same time, what can you really ask them to do? You can't ask them to be super aggressive or super defensive, because we don't even know this team. We haven't seen them before. We haven't seen if they're really powerful or if they're on the lower end. And we're kind of, they're making a narrative right now.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a much more aggressive lineup now and a much more aggressive stance as we move into the later.
Yeah. But what was how would you describe Rage's opening move and their style going into maps like Ensk, which is a city map?
It was bold. I mean, they used their 1390 pretty well. T32s moved up based on that position. But from there, it just looked like they didn't know how to use their T69 correctly. Against the 416, you have that view range advantage, so you can put shots out before and then get ducked behind cover. Also, the T69 was looking down the 5 line, not the 6 line. Very important to distinguish those because you have to be looking down that 6 line to just take that extra lane of crossfire. They weren't able to do that, and from there, what advantage do they really have? They've taken so much position, but they have no support.
Yeah. Our next battle will be on mines. The battle has begun. Real quick before we get in there, C'est La Vie looks so much stronger and more able to control what is normal on the map. I'm expecting probably some kind of hill play, but our Rage without T1s, what can they do? I'm thinking a water play.
Yeah, I guess that's the best because you need your T1s to be watching the east and west at all times. But if you're playing the water play, you can play kind of pointed the whole time and just put a lot of pressure with your side control. But even that, I don't feel like it's super good. Looking at the tanks, 2 T32s, 5100, T69, 1390 for Rage. On the other side, we have a T32, 2 T69s, and 2 1390s for the side of C'est La Vie. Of course, they're going to go for that center play. And, okay, there is a thought process where you can say, well, let's just go for the all-out brawl and not even go to the stages where T1s are applicable. And I don't mind that at all, but this is so bold. Black Geo going up into the center. How can you really do this when there's only one 1390 against 2 1390s? It's still going to work.
Potentially.
Because they're, yes.
Yeah, only potentially, but it's so risky, and you're right about that. It's
you say potentially, but you're looking at, what's the proportion of times?
Oh, and Bujanda. T69 going up. Sorry to interrupt you, Andre. That is crucial that they put a T69 up there as well. Now they've got 2 tanks effectively stuck on the hill. With the C'est La Vie loadout here, they're trapped. The way it's hard for them to get out. They can, but it's going to cost them.
You say trapped. I feel like that's such honestly, a biased outlook on it. I mean, they took hill control.
Yeah, they took hill control.
There's only an advantage to that. You can't really say they're trapped.
There's disadvantage because in order for them to use the hill, they have to be able to peek out on any of the openings here. But the angles that C'est La Vie have, they have trained shots on any of those positions. They've got Wick all the way in H7. He's looking at one of the best angles that Resistencia could be looking at right now. With that, you've got T69's Bao Bao and Callus, very easy shots on another position that they could be peeking out.
But you're saying all these things that just deny, but I'm never hearing anything where they can actually move or do something with. Right now, it is that C'est La Vie can only be defensive because there is this control. Now, they cannot feed, of course. Black Geo taking a big shot, and there's just moving shots so far. Bujanda taking that shot along with the 1390 being played by Black Geo. But I feel like the dominance, the control, the aggression is going to be dictated by Rage.
But here's the thing about C'est La Vie. This is a position and a layout that I know very well. Back when I was in Havoc and in Clan Wars, it's very similar to this. You take this kind of control that you see. You put some tanks over in the base, you'd send a few out to J4. You've got serious control of the hill right there, meaning your opponent can't abuse you as well from the hill because you actually are in a very solid position yourself. And then even in the west, you get to play that west side. 1390s in the west are going to be able to deny aggression on the west side of the hill and put beautiful cross shots. Now, if there were an all-out push by Rage onto any one of these tanks, they'd have to cross such a distance that the reaction from the other tanks would mean that you'd simply be putting yourself in a surround. Now they can put T1s up against the hill, and they're actually going to move Wick to maybe proxy spot actually on the hill. He's actually in the open, stopped. Don't know what he's going with here. He's moving his turret around. Maybe, I don't know what's up with that. But the T69s are going to move as well.
The way I see it, I mean, disregarding the hill altogether by C'est La Vie, you're limiting your options incredibly. And yeah, you're talking about all these runs that you can do by taking water side, but I still think that there are so many more options. Now the T1 advantage is only by 1. But there's so many more options that you can take by just taking the hill. You have that 1390 advantage, just use it. Bao Bao and Wick are getting into some precarious situations.
Bounces traded between Wick and Black Sun.
I'm not liking this all too much. Black Geo and Bujanda are going to be putting shots. Bao Bao taking a lot of damage, down to 52 hit points. And he's going to go down, although Bujanda just one shot away and down he goes. Black Geo needs to get out of there. Where's the support? Jose Martin in the back is going to 1v2 right now. Victorocious and Hetzerator are moving on up. Things are not looking all too good, but the T-32s are going to town against Wick and Callus.
Well, Victorocious is on Jose Martin right now. Hetzerator and Victorocious on them. Jose gets his turret a little bit confused here, and he takes a few hits down, 219, and he will be finished off missing his last shot. That could have been crucial to bringing this one back. Now it looks like two T-32s are alive, and Lunatic Angelic is distracting Black Geo in his T1. Black Geo completely out of the fight at this point.
Yeah.
He will take on Lunatic Angelic, evening up the T1s, but tier rate advantage still goes to C'est La Vie.
I think there should have, 100%, there should have been some sort of tier 8 kill with that 5100. Only 4 shots to kill a 1390. It should have happened. Victorocious and Hetzerator baiting a lot of shots, and meanwhile there's shots in the back. You can see Callus on that top of the hill is able to put out some delicious things. But so far, Black Geo, I mean, he's out of it. He can't really do much over here. Victorocious down to 439, but I mean, does it really matter at this point? I feel like it's just
well, there's actually a real
Rage
chance
is so
for
far behind.
Rage can come back possibly in the same way that we saw yesterday a comeback on Mines. It depends on C'est La Vie making mistakes, but the mistakes are there to be made. Hetzerator is chasing down a 1390. Victorocious is way out of the fight right now. Wick takes down Black Geo on the 1390. He just kind of comes up. If he'd come up with those T-32s, they could have taken down Wick.
Well, he had to push because the 1390s were giving chase before him.
I think he could have gone off into the west side of the map and possibly escaped that way.
I think that would have been better.
But if he were going to come up to the hill like that, T-32 should have come with him. That would have been a great way for Rage to come back in this one. They could have taken out Wick, maybe lost a few hit points on one of their T-32s, but they could have preserved that 1390 just a little longer, and then it would have been a 3v3. You would have had also that high ground advantage. At this point in the game, hill control is much, much more important. Early game, with the way C'est La Vie was playing, hill control is could have been used against you. Callus taking hits. Wow, that is huge. Another hit on Callus. He goes down. Hit points really looking dicey here for C'est La Vie.
Yeah, one good thing about the T-32, it has that elevation, man. I mean, the T-69 has no elevation.
Yeah.
T-32 can be boss mode. But some great turret breaking right now. Hector is trying to get shots on Hetzerator right now. Oh, he overshoots and he misses. Wow, some brutal shot right there. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 up for C'est La Vie. Playing very, very well. I think the tanking came down to it because the strategy altogether I thought was much worse than their opponents.
I have to disagree with you there, Andre. There is a mentality in that which does respect the hill appropriately. Now, you wouldn't immediately think that because this is only assuming if you say you take the hill and then that is the only way to play hill. But there's another way to respect the hill, which is going back, stepping away from it, and making it so that position is actually working against your enemy. Your enemy is now on a pedestal as opposed to in some kind of castle.
I don't know. I mean, we're going to disagree on this, but the way I saw it was you had 3 tier 8 tanks, 3 tier 8 tanks going up the hill against 4 tier 8 tanks and 2 1390s isolating a single 5100. The 5100 should kill a 1390 and you should get a trade. It's a wash right there.
But there's a way you play 2 1390s against 50.
Of course. I'm just saying, technically, I mean, look at how much position that they had to go up. You should be able to get 2 shots at least on the approach and then another shot after that. And then you have a 4v3, is it 4v? Yeah, 4v3 situation on the hill, which you lose. That shouldn't happen. So I understand that
I agree with you, the hill thing, definitely. A 4v3 always, but the 2v1 with the 5100s, the way they played it was actually very strong.
I can get on board that, okay, the 5100 wasn't able to land the shots, but...
I'll go over, actually, we should go over that. The 1390s, they have mobility, and you talked about the high skill cap earlier with 1390s.
Yes.
A 1390 can begin to pull the gun. As we talk about turret breaking, I say pulling guns. He pulls the gun of that 5100. 5100 is now focused on one of those 1390s. Take a look at actually how many hits did he get?
He got 3 hits, 2 of them pen though. He's at 676 damage. He shot 5 times, 4 shots. I'm sorry?
I think that's 3 for 3 pens right there.
It is 3
5
for
shots,
3.
2 misses.
5 shots, 2 misses, 2 of them did damage. 2 of them actually penned.
One of them didn't actually do
676.
damage?
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. You're dead.
676.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're looking at a situation where I would say if he made 4 of those shots and made them do damage, you're killing a 1390 right up, right off the bat. If you equalize there, the hill should win. 100% of the time, it should win. That's the critical thing. They lost.
I liked also that they sacked a T1 when they approached the hill. That gave them, it gave them a little bit of time. But the thing is, they really should have won it. There were there's a way C'est La Vie can win it, but Rage really should have won the hill and then lost in the west there.
And that's why I'm being critical, obviously. Of course. I didn't like the approach nearly as much as how Rage did it. But let's find out what they do over here on Cliff. A 5100, 2 T32s, a T69 and a 1390 on the side of Rage. On the other side, C'est La Vie is sporting a T32, a T69, and 3 1390s. Again, going for that T32 on this map. Actually, both teams. But this is a consistent trend that we've seen C'est La Vie do. Callus really likes that T32 on this map, and we've seen him use it as just a pushing tool in the center of the map. Right now, it's a 5100 leading the charge. Everybody's going for, well, the center. I mean, this is the very, very standard run, but you're going to see a much faster run on the blue team. What do we have so far?
C'est La Vie sending 2 1390s towards the middle, but they're going to cut to the west and actually go out to the one of the rocks out there. Beautiful flank shots incoming here, guys. I expect that to be... Oh, Black Geo is spotted. Does he spot these 2 1390s going to west? Okay, awesome. At the same time, Callus and the 1390s stay in the mid.
Black Geo is going to the west. 2 is greater than 1. Yes. And that's what I'm scared about right now. But there are shots going to assist Black Geo so that he can deny the west and that crossfire, but still things are getting a little bit dicey.
So dicey though for Callus. 502 hit points. He peeked up and over really aggressively. Callus not even having camo on his 1390 here. He is down to less than half health. That is a huge advantage for Rage. They have so many hit points in favor of them right now, and Callus cannot afford to initiate a fight or much of anything else. Although spotting in the east by a T1, that is Lunatic Angelic actually spots a heavy tank. I didn't catch which that one that was, but that could cause a fight in the middle. It looks like they want to right now. Wick moving up.
It's a T32 Black Sun, and this is going to be the death.
Oh, and Victorocious is also about to take down Black Geo. Victorocious finishing him off. Battle Buddy, Het's Raid. They take very little damage in this, and it looks like then the push will begin. Bao Bao wanting to push up and over. Wick taking actually a few hits from the T69 Bujanda.
Oh gosh. And where's Jose Martin has to be careful of those 1390s. He doesn't want to go too far forward, but Bujanda is just getting isolated completely. Now shots are coming out from those 1390s all the way across. Jose Martin down to 918, and the push is going to commence as Bujanda is just firing on the move as he backs up. Again, another great shot. Another one, and down he goes. Bujanda gets crushed into the center push. Jose Martin now gets crushed to Bao Bao, and that rotation all the way on the east side doesn't make a lot of sense by Rage because, of course, the T1, they have the T1 disadvantage. They have to realize that this might not work because of how far behind they are, how they don't have scouts over there, and then things are not working out for them.
Yeah, just an attempt to flank from the east right here, splitting your forces, and then C'est La Vie picking up on that split easily overmatches. Just you gotta make sure you take out scouts before you make any kind of move like that. And if you do, it's so risky. The timing is crucial, and so is vision. Scouting is one of the most important things in this game, and Rage really drops the ball on this battle, making their scouting work.
I mean, maybe it comes down to the fact that they're thinking, well, you know, we have to just make assumptions and go off of it. We're down 2 tier 1s. So maybe let's just try to do this rotation and make something happen. But C'est La Vie on top of things, very comprehensive all the way through. I don't think this was the most accurate discriminator of C'est La Vie's skill, but they sure did show that they are the better team.
Yeah, C'est La Vie probably staying my favorites. Over C'est La Vie versus the Googly Boppers, I really felt like C'est La Vie really outclassed their opponents more than Googly Boppers did. We'll see in the semifinals tomorrow how everyone squares off. But C'est La Vie just looking so strong. Everything they did was very comprehensive. Sometimes some strange lineups, but very comprehensive. Our next match will be the Landing Zone Slayers. I always do that. I always say Landing Zones versus Sympasaurus Rex. We haven't seen Sympasaurus Rex. We'll have to see how they fight after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere.